Today on Comicstorian, we're going to be covering more Fear State right here. Batman has lost the city, and I'll explain exactly where we are. But you have found yourself at the weird part of YouTube, where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues, and I narrate what is happening in them. I give you a brief synopsis of what is going on in the world of comic books right now, allowing you to go out and buy the issues yourself to get more context, or get the next issue and still know what is going on. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. So Batman Fear State is a giant multi-issue crossover event that happened in the world of Batman. It featured a lot of the individuals that are involved in the Bat family. The general idea is simple. An individual known as Simon Saint built a police state known as the Magistrate, and he was using Scarecrow's technology to make this happen. Scarecrow then betrayed him and took over the city, pumping fear gas throughout all of Gotham City, creating the Fear State. Batman has officially lost, and Scarecrow implanted something in his mind to cause him to be afraid. And we've been covering that, and I'll give you the last videos in the description down below. But on today's episode, we're going to be covering Catwoman number 35, Nightwing number 84, and Batman number 114. This is going to tell you what's going on with Catwoman, where Nightwing is in during all of this, what's happening with Batgirl, and then we're also going to pick up on what we left off with Batman. So let's kick it off with Catwoman so that we can eventually get to the Batman story and tell you how he's going to handle the now insane Peacekeeper 01 that is trying to murder everyone in the city. Alleytown was once a quiet suburb, a place where everyone was left alone. That was until the Magistrate came in. People who lived there found shelter in their homes, watching the outside world in fear, but knowing at least that if they stayed inside, they were safe. But that was just the spectacle of fear, the illusion of safety created. That is why Clayface has gathered others like him, others who know that this system needs to change, to know things should be different, and it is their chance to atone. But while Clayface, Croc, Knockout, Cheshire, and Firefly all do their part in stopping the Magistrate from digging its heels into Alleytown, Catwoman tries to make sense of it all. Her city is burning. She is broken. What is she the queen of? Leo tells her that he is still here. And times like this are when people need a queen. They're out there fighting because while she showed them that they may not have much, they don't need to trade their dignity away. Catwoman sighs, thinking that maybe she's just a thief who did it because she felt like she had something to prove. And look how that turned out. At that moment, a message comes in on Catwoman's phone from Oracle, telling her that she knows that they are all afraid right now, but the truth is, they aren't frightened enough. The mayor is hiding. Scarecrow is on the loose. Fear is spreading in this city, and they can be sure that the air that they are breathing is filled with poison. She wishes she could tell them that Batman is coming to save them, but he can't. Batman is dead. Catwoman doesn't believe that. She knows that Batman always comes back, but while Catwoman goes out to see if the rumors are true, there is a conversation happening between the Riddler and Penguin regarding the fate of Alleytown. Penguin says that if the big bad bat is dead, then this may be our window. Our rather complex machinations have perfectly placed us to seize this opportunity with both of our hands. If the Magistrate wins, and likely they will, whoever controls Alleytown, its docks, and its smuggling routes stands to make a pretty penny. Riddler asks if there's anything other than money that he even cares about. But Penguin squawks, stating that if anything, I care too much. I care about you, and you need your payback. After all, Catwoman swindled us both out of our fair share. Riddler says that he does love payback. But there might be an even bigger opportunity at play. They have a key ingredient to Saint's little drug right here in Alleytown. Penguin asks, Ivy? If we can get to her, I can engineer the drug, and we can control Alleytown. We'd both have the one piece of evidence that is likely to sink Simon Saint. But back with Catwoman, she speeds through the streets, but is stopped by a spike trap laid out in the road. Before she even has a chance to get off of her bike, Magistrate bots surround her and tell her to come peacefully, or she will be met with deadly force. She grabs her whip, grabbing a hold of one of the drones, swinging it into the crowd, giving herself an opening to escape. As Catwoman runs into a corner, she turns back asking, "Why do you think you have me cornered? This is Alleytown." There's a surprise waiting around everyone. At that moment, Cheshire Cat jumps down off the building and both her and Catwoman begin to take out the bots. Once clear, Cheshire asks her, "You were leaving, weren't you?" Catwoman tells her only because she has to find him and make sure that he's But Cheshire stops her. You were right the first time. I wouldn't believe everything you hear on the radio. It's fake. Come, I'll show you. As Catwoman follows, Cheshire Cat says that she found this dish when she was scanning frequencies to hook up another access point. They faked the announcement. They knew it would create fear and bring her out into the opening. But as the fake Oracle continues to broadcast her announcements, there are a few others wandering into town in search of someone. One wears a suit and the other can control plants, and the other with red and blue hair carries a baseball bat. Next up in our continued adventure of what is going on around the city of Gotham during Fear State, we have Nightwing 84. Let's see what's happening over in Bloodhaven. High up on the buildings of Bloodhaven, it's easy to just clear your mind and think. But as Nightwing takes a bite of his pizza, he thinks about all of the things that he is doing now. It's easy to fight the bad guys, to save a life. That is something that he's used to doing. But fighting an entire corrupt system, saving a whole city, there's no training for that. He's just in it now. He stood in front of the cameras without his mask. He told the world that he was going to transform the city and that Bloodhaven was his responsibility. But as Nightwing jumps down to go on patrol, he hears a buzzing in his ear from Oracle. No voice, just buzzes. He listens closely and hears that it's not just a random static, it's a pattern, an encrypted audio. Park Row, Gotham, midnight, don't respond, don't make contact, communications potentially compromised. After getting a dog sitter for Haley, Nightwing heads off into Gotham thinking that he might take this time to reflect a bit on things that he shouldn't be doing in Bloodhaven. Like right now, you can look up into the sky and see a giant floating fortress surveilling all of Gotham from above. Surely that isn't what you're supposed to be doing right now, right? Navigating in the dark was never that hard, but with the magistrate drones scouring the streets, it's made things a bit more difficult for Nightwing. As he reaches Park Row, he calls back to Oracle asking if she's there, but something doesn't feel right. It feels more like a trap. A spotlight then shines down and magistrate drone officers begin to fire down. Nightwing jumps up, beginning to take them down one at a time, moving from one to the next. But as more begin to show up, he realizes that he can't take down all of these drones. The numbers just aren't in his favor. That is until he sees a shadow, and Batman lands feet first onto one of the drones as Nightwing goes back to bashing the robots. Hey, what's up? I was following the buildup of troops. Didn't know they were coming for you. Nightwing laughs, tells him, it's always nice to have company in a death trap, but I received an encrypted message from Oracle asking me to come to Crime Alley. Batman punches one of the bots. Oracle's systems have been compromised. You can't trust any communication from her network. The two continue to bring down more and more of the drones, but as more and more of them show up, they decide that it might be time to change tactics. They break open a window and they run through the building, telling people not to worry, they'll pay for the damages. Once they get ahead of the drones enough, Nightwing and Batman slip into the sewers, where Batman says that someone is using Oracle's system to spread lies and fear across Gotham. They need this person stopped. Nightwing tells him not to worry. They'll stop them. They'll get the network back up and running again, and thanks for the save. Batman turns, beginning to leave, telling him, I watched my parents die in that alley. I wasn't about to let it happen to my own son. Later, over at the clock tower, Barbara asks what is he doing in Gotham, and Nightwing says, well, Oracle called him back from Bloodhaven, or more accurately, whoever is posing as her lured him into a death trap. Barbara gets up yelling, that's it! I can't do anything from here! I can't find out who's doing this or where they're doing it from, and I can't shut them down. At least, not remotely. Nightwing tells her to hang on. There's a hostile army in the streets, and she has experimental tech holding her spine together. Just tell him what to go look for and where. Barbara says no. The system that she built is being used to hurt the city and their friends. And her family. This is now Batgirl's fight. Next up, we have Batman number 114. Tensions are high in Gotham City as Scarecrow's fear state continues to infect the residents, but more specifically, Sean Mahoney, Peacekeeper 01. With Sean slowly losing his mind, listening to the voice inside of his head, Saint quietly sends out yet another secret Peacekeeper, Peacekeeper X, a Peacekeeper suit worn by his assistant, Ricardo. As Saint's airbase comes to a stop high above the city, one of the operators tells Saint that they are over Peacekeeper X's position right now. Saint tells him, good, Ricardo, we are closing in overhead and we'll be able to assist in the final extraction. Our hope is to bring in Peacekeeper 01 alive, so that we can repackage him into the hero that we need. But that should not be possible. Peacekeeper X's adaptive nanotech costs $500 million more than what Peacekeeper 01's working with. Your weapons will tear through Sean's armor if things go south. Down on the ground, Ricardo and the Peacekeeper drones begin to surround Sean as he mutters that there is something wrong with his head. Ricardo holds out his hand. I know. That's why Saint sent me. I have a sedative that will stop the pain. Let us help. Sean, I'm here for you. But as Sean looks up, he doesn't see Ricardo. He sees a twisted bat creature trying to stick him with a needle. Scarecrow watches from afar, whispering to him that Batman won't let him become a hero. That Batman won't let him save Gotham City. Isn't that frightening, Sean? If you're going to save the city, you will need to kill Batman. Sean quietly says to himself, yes, I need to kill Batman. And he lunges in at Ricardo, destroying the syringe. Saint yells that the peaceful option is now off the tables. Peacekeepers, take him down like the lowly dog that he is. All of the drones open fire, but Sean deflects the bullets as he superheats his arm blade, and then he begins to run through the bots, ripping them all apart. Ricardo pulls out his own arm blade and quickly engages Sean with the much more advanced suit. He easily takes down Mahoney, launching him across the street. Ricardo begins to get closer to see the damage, and once the dust has settled, Sean manages to escape into the shadows. But up above Ricardo, pieces of the Peacekeeper bots begin to fall. He looks up. Oh no. But before he could react, Batman punches down. Batman asks, are you trying to clean up your mess, or are you trying to destroy evidence? And one of the bots knocks Batman off of Ricardo, with Saint telling him, we can't afford to lose Sean! Go after him! Down the street, Sean runs into a building with Ricardo close behind him, telling him, we can get you through this! You just need to accept our help, Sean! But when Ricardo hears the tink of two small metal balls being thrown, they then explode at his feet. With Ricardo off balance, Sean takes the chance, lunging in with his blade, and Ricardo quickly switches to his arm cannon. A bright green blast throws Sean across the room, ripping a hole through the entire building. Batman sees the blast, calling out, what did you let loose on this city, Saint? But as more PK drones descend on Batman, Saint tells him, order! This is what order looks like, Batman! Back in the abandoned building, Sean stands up with half of his face burned by the beam. Ricardo gets ready with a second shot, but Scarecrow whispers in Sean's head again. I thought we could work on this together, but it seems I was wrong. This is your chance. Show everyone what you're capable of. Ricardo gets ready to fire, but Sean slams his blade into the arm cannon, causing it to explode on itself, giving Sean his chance to get close. He begins to beat into Ricardo, and all Saint can do from the airbase is watch as Ricardo's erratic vitals begin to slow down more and more until he flatlines. Another operator says that Peacekeeper X is no longer responsive, and Saint snaps, I know! We need to activate the self-destruct on Peacekeeper X suit, as well as the robotic drones, set for maximum damage. The first operator says that a blast like that would take out the entire block, and Saint shouts, I know that! Do it! Seconds later, all of the drones begin to explode, destroying everyone around them, nearly taking Batman out in the process. But as Batman pulls himself out of the rubble, he hears a voice calling out to him, telling him that this all looks bad, but this is just the beginning. Miracle Molly flies down on her glider, holding out her arm, telling him she knows how Scarecrow's getting into people's minds, and she has an idea of what he's going to do next, and they are running out of time. And there you have it, our continued coverage of Fear State with some of the bonus issues like I promised. Now, if you actually look at the Fear State checklist, the thing literally contains over 35 issues. Not all of them are actually tied into Fear State. Like we just covered Task Force Z, supposedly that's tied into Fear State, but they don't even mention Fear State over there. So what I'm trying to do is get you the ones that are directly related to Fear State, and we're putting that into the coverage. So today we did Catwoman number 35, we did Nightwing number 84, and we did Batman number 114. Next Sunday, we'll be bringing you more Fear State, so make sure you stick around, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when we bring out the next chapter of the Fear State coverage. You get a Batman video every Sunday as we prep you for what's coming out next after Fear State. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget we do have a Patreon if you want to continue supporting us and get early access to a lot of our videos. Thank you so much, we'll see you next time right here.